Hi, this is Paul McGinnis,
This is Rafael Garcia.
And this is Sharon Sanchez.
and we're here today to have a discussion on theories of cultural perspective, specifically the catharsis theory, the third person effect, and gender analysis, and its effect on our society. We'll begin our discussion with the third person effect. In Mass Media in a Changing World, George Rodman explains the third person effect as the theory that people perceive the media as having a stronger effect on others than it does on themselves. The effects described by this theory influence many different aspects of people's consumption of media. In advertising, people often assume that an ad seen as vulgar or violent will have detrimental effects on others. This is a result of the third person theory, as a person will feel that they are capable of seeing an ad and not being affected, while others are completely unable to not be affected in the same way. According to author Dave McRaney, people prefer to believe that they are, on average, less vulnerable than others to negative influence, like unwanted persuasion attempts. We all want to protect our sense of control over our lives. One way we do that is to assume that ads only work on other people. This belief creates complications for advertisers, as a message can be off-putting to a consumer, even if the content does not offend them personally. They can actually be upset by the idea that your message will have a strong effect on others. This means advertisers end up using focus groups to make sure that they can attempt to eliminate unwanted interpretations. This has the result of some advertisements being stripped of any interesting or provocative material in an attempt to make it more palatable to a wider audience. Another aspect of the third person effect is its effect on political campaigns. In 2007, the Pew Research Group reported that 15% of respondents believed that Oprah endorsing Obama's campaign for president would positively affect their vote. However, 60% of those polled also believed that the endorsement would benefit Obama. This study shows how the third person effect can cause people to make judgments about the effectiveness of campaign ads and endorsements. This can frequently result in voters changing stances to vote with what they see as the most popular candidate so as not to waste their vote, a move that is based on a faulty perception of who is the likely winner. Next up, we have Raphael with a discussion on catharsis theory and how it relates to the third person effect.
A study conducted by Erica Schreier, who is a professor and chair of communication at University of Massachusetts, with 118 United States 6th and 7th grade students, supported the theory of third person effects. What their study came up with is that the students would feel the violent video games were fine for them to play, but these same games would affect students their same age negatively. The tests show that on average, students believe that video games had negative effects on students their same age and students younger. The students also believe that younger people should not be allowed to play mature-rated games or teen-rated games. This study actually leads up to our next topic, which is catharsis theory. The idea that viewing violence actually reduces violent behavior because it satisfies a person's aggressive drive. So in essence, if I'm playing a violent video game, it lessens my chance to be violent because I'm getting the aggression out of me. The interesting part about all this is that none of this is supported by modern research, but it still remains very popular. People want to believe that if millions of people play violent video games and they don't all become killers, then those games must be harmless. Unfortunately, that's just not true. We haven't proven video games directly cause violence because it just can't be proven. There's no way to ethically run experiments that see if playing some violent video game like Call of Duty may push a person into violence. But that doesn't mean that we're left without evidence. We know that video game violence is certainly correlated with violence, just like smoking is correlated with lung cancer. Brad Bushman, professor of communication and psychology at Ohio State, recently conducted a comprehensive review of 136 articles reporting 381 effects involving over 130,000 participants from around the world. These studies show that violent video games increase aggressive thoughts, angry feelings, and aggressive behavior. Violent games also decrease helping behavior and feelings of empathy for others. The effects occurred for males and females of all ages, regardless of what country they lived in.
I am Sharon Sanchez, and I focus on gender analysis. According to George Rodman, author of Mass Media in a Changing World, gender analysis examines how the media constructs and preserves gender roles. They determine how male and female should think, act, and speak. This is continuously presented in mediated messages like television commercials, advertisements, and television shows. An example from our textbook was that a group of researchers at the University of Massachusetts recently examined the gender roles that were advanced in television commercials. They found that when men were depicted doing housework, their work was often humorously inept as measured by negative responses by others, lack of success, and unsatisfactory outcomes. Nowadays, gender stereotypes have great power and reach larger audiences than the past. Mass media not only gives people information and entertainment, but according to a Canadian communication theorist, Marshall McLuhan, it also affects people's lives by shaping their opinions, their attitudes, and beliefs. Margaret Walska stated in Critica.org that nowadays the differences between male and female roles are smaller. However, mass media still maintains traditional gender stereotypes. Moreover, due to their great influence on people's attitudes, they can depict certain social groups in negative and unrealistic manner. They can be a very useful tool for those remaining power. By manipulating the message, media can create a certain image of reality which is consistent with the policy of the dominant group. In conclusion, we see that mass media has a great impact in how men and females learn their gender roles.
This is Paul.
Raphael.
And Sharon.
And we'd like to thank you for listening to our podcast on theories of cultural perspective. We hope you enjoyed listening to us, and we hope you can apply these perspectives when consuming media in the future.
Woo!
Yeah!